I'm Justin Davis, and this is Drone Camps RC. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, look at the stack of goggles that I have here. These are some of the best goggles for 2020, and I wanted to update my best goggles of the year video because the 2019 version is a bit outdated now, even though I just did that one probably 3 or 4 months ago. And here we are already in the first quarter of 2020, ready for the best goggles for 2020, and this is going to be that updated video. I think the information that you see in this video is going to surprise you. I didn't expect the pair of goggles sitting here in front of me to kind of win me over versus some of the other ones out there. I've had a long-standing tradition on my channel preferring Skyzone over the Fatsharks. Even the HDOs that came out last year, the Skyzone 030s came out, and everyone was really impressed because the screens are brighter and they look better. So this year we're going to do some comparison of all of these goggles here, including DJI Digital as well. But should you buy digital straight out of the gates, or should you go analog and then move up later? That's totally up to you. And that also has to do with cost. We're also going to talk about quality versus cost here, what you get for the money. We're going to talk about the current price of each one. Depending on what budget you have, of course, also might be a deciding factor in this video for you of which pair of goggles that you decide to go for. And price is king out there. Let's just be honest. Price is king for most people. So starting out with the Fatsharks, you are going to pay $4.99 for the HDO2s, which I have sitting here. I did also test out various different modules on those as well, but they come without a module. So if you're brand new to FPV, or you're just getting into FPV and you're going to buy your first pair of goggles, be aware of that. When I opened up the box for the HDO2s, there was nothing in the box. No antennas, no batteries, no module. So you're going to have to buy all that extra. And that's going to, at the cheapest, the Foxeer Wildfire is around $89. That's this one down here, the fluorescent green one right there. But you're going to get up and upwards of $600 to $650 to $700 out the door if you decide to go the HDO route. You can get the original HDOs a little cheaper now, but they fixed a lot of things and they added some things to the HDO2s. And a good friend of mine, Diego, just bought the HDO2s, so he's pretty happy with his. But there are some Fatshark contenders out there like Skyzone. Let's go ahead and start giving you a quick little rundown about each pair of goggles here, and let's talk about the thing that's going to blow you away in this video the most. I think you're going to be surprised. I was absolutely shocked this morning when I sat them down all on the table. Cadex Ratel was my camera of choice for comparing all these goggles. Turn them on, with the exception of the DJI, of course. If you have the money, buy the DJI, hands down. Go for the DJI modules. The new Cadex Vista and the full-size air module, 2 thumbs up for those. But if you're going the analog route, let's go ahead and jump right into the best goggles for 2020 and early 2020. This is going to be great. Here we go. All right, for this part of the video, I'm going to bring up the video editor, and we had to place in each DVR recording from each camera from my Cadex Ratel, and we're going to shoot with the GoPro Hero 7 at 720p at 200 frames per second setting, and you're going to be able to see the difference in the lag here between each DVR recording. Now, these are the cheapest Fatsharks out there that are a good deal, under $100. The Recon V3s actually look pretty good. There's not a lot of delay here. Now we're going to go to the Eachine EV300Ds and check out the frame rate discrepancy here. You can see that there's pretty major lag going on here. This was tested also by Painless 360, and my guy over there, he got over 100 milliseconds, as I did myself. So there is quite a bit of delay there, and that's going to equal out to about 1.8 meters per if you're flying. So that's a lot of, that's like 6 to 7 feet there. Now with the HDO2s right here, 5 to 7 millisecond per average frame delay and 35 millisecond average on the average there. So these are way faster than the EV 300Ds. If you want a racing pair of goggles, these would be the ones to get if you like to fly fast. The Skyzone 030s look like they're actually doing even a little bit better than the Fatshark HDOs, giving me around a 25 to 30 millisecond average, and recorded on that DVR, it's 688 by 576 DVR recording resolutions, a little bit better than the Fatshark's HDOs, the 640 by 480. And I've talked about that before on the channel. Now the HDOs, they seem to also do pretty good, and they're going to average out to about 35 to 40 millisecond delay in our testing as well with the GoPro Hero 7 at 720p at the 200 per second frame rate. Now let's move over to a less expensive pair of goggles. That would be the Fatshark Attitude V5s. And again, here, I'm not seeing a whole lot of delay. So we're probably in the neighborhood, again, around 35 millisecond delay, even on the cheapest pair of Fatsharks out there that are binocular style, not the Recons or the Scouts. I think the Attitudes are probably doing a little bit better, but those are going to show some pixel resolution at 640 by 480. So not my first choice, but let's put them all up on the screen here so you guys can see them. And we're just going to zoom in a little bit closer, all in at one time here. Now you're seeing the frame delay on each one. That's live in the editor right there. And you can see there is some delay on the Fatshark HDO in comparison to the Skyzone 03s. Check it out, the bottom left-hand corner. And you can see some big frame jumps, mostly on the right-hand side of the screen. The HDO2s even showing a little bit of frame delay. And the HDOs, the original HDOs. So you can be the judge for yourself which one you think is doing the best as far as latency goes. That's a pretty good test. Now right away, here is basically the top 4 analog goggles out there in our industry right now. We have the HDOs, we have the HDO2s, the Eachine EV300Ds, and the Skyzone 030s. They all now have OLED goggle lenses on each one, which is really nice, but they are different resolutions. Starting out with the Skyzone 030s, those are they're still pretty high. They have a 35-degree field of view on them. They are 1024 by 768 OLED screens on there. So they're actually brighter than the original HDOs. There was a lot of videos comparing both of these goggles, and surprisingly, the Skyzones beat out the HDOs, the original HDOs that everyone was buying. HDO and Rapid Fire seemed to be the hot combo at the time, and that was about, maybe about 6 months ago now. But following up to the update of those, the HDO2s, and those are $499, but they have a screen resolution of 1280 by 960. So they upped the screen resolution, and they made it a little bit better display. They're 46-degree field of view on there. They're 4.3 and 16 by 9 switchable, but those are $499 without any type of module or antennas on there. So you're also going to have to buy a couple 18650 batteries to go in the Fatshark battery case right there. So these come with a longer cord, which I like better. So I would definitely recommend just getting a 3S 2200 battery and sticking it in your pocket while you fly instead of having it on the side of your head. If you're flying longer hours, it just makes more sense to have a larger battery that you can take the weight off your head and stick in your pocket, and just have a little bit longer flight time as well. So you could even go bigger if you want to. 3S, like 3000 milliamp, lasts me about a week's worth of flying before I have to charge it. But the resolution on them are a little bit better, but the big thing is that the price, again, is going to be the difference in both of these two. So these are kind of out of it right now. They're kind of out of the loop. So the HDOs are going to move to the side, and these are $400. These are $499, but these come with built-in module bays with diversity. So they are a good value. So that price will get you out the door. A little more money for some better antennas, and I've talked about this Foxeer 8 dB Echo antenna. This is the patch antenna that I usually prefer to fly with, as well as just a simple Lollipop 3. This combination right here will get you out there 3 miles or more. Now, do the new HDO screens look as good as the 030s? Yes, they do. So they did do this update to compete with the 030s because all the videos came out, Josh Bardwell, everybody else, Andy RC, Albert Kim, including myself, we all said that these are better than the HDOs. So yes, they actually are, in my opinion, especially for the price. You get all this stuff included and really nice foam faceplate as well. And you get a wider strap. That's the other thing that Fatshark can't seem to get is they keep coming out with this thinner strap, and everyone right now wants the thicker strap. So that's another area where Skyzone's kind of paying attention to the community as well. So these are still a really good deal. But an even better deal is the Eachine EV300Ds. Those are 1280 by 960. They're exactly the same resolution as the HDO2s, but these are $499 with no module, no antennas. These come with Quadversity. 2 replaceable modules right here. These are the stock Eachine modules that we're testing today, and they both have the same resolution, but also the same type of lens setup here. They have adjustable IPD as well as the focal length. So HDO does their setup a little bit different than Eachine does. Now, comparing both of these, I tested both of these out in the field, and I do actually prefer the Eachine screen adjustments over the Fatshark. And why would I do that? Why would I like this one over this one? Well, I'll tell you. So when you're sitting there and you're trying to get your screens right, they put both of the focal adjustment and the IPD here on the same type of slider and focus knob right here. So when I push this in, that's nice and all in one type of switch, slider and dial right there. That is really genius. Now on the Fatsharks, they put the IPD up here and the focus down here, and the IPD is fine. I can get to this pretty well, but the problem was the focus wheel. It's tucked back here, and if you don't have like fingernails, it's really hard to get to the focus wheel, and it's really low. It doesn't come out far enough, and so it makes it hard to get your fingernail in there and get these in focus. Now the next thing in this comparison is the voltage range of these goggles. We're going to start out with the Skyzone. The Skyzones, the 030s, they actually have a voltage range from 7 to 26 volt. That is pretty good. That's a fairly high voltage range. Most of the time I'm using a 3S battery on my Skyzones. Like I said before, like the 3S 2200 battery or a 3000 milliamp battery will last me about a week's worth of flying. The HDO2s have a voltage range of 7 to 13 volts, so you can only run 2 and 3S on this set of goggles. So surprisingly, Skyzone has a higher voltage range than the HDO2s, and those just came out. I wish they would have upped their voltage range a little bit in case you needed to use a 4S 1300 battery as a backup to the 18650s if they died on you. So next in the lineup is the Eachine EV300Ds, and those have the highest voltage range, just barely higher than the Skyzone 030s. Those come in from 7 to 28 volts, so they win the highest voltage range. Now the next thing in comparison is the DVRs, onboard DVR. Eachine wins it again with their DVR. It looks better than even my Skyzones. It also looks better than Fatshark's DVR. I kind of wish that Eachine would have moved the SD card slot to the bottom like Skyzone has theirs on the bottom here. It's just much easier to access underneath than in between the eyes, and they usually tuck it in behind this piece of plastic here, which creates a gap. The HDO2s, they're a little bit easier to get to than the Eachines, but as far as the look and less grainy appeal, the Eachines do win on the DVR contest there as well. So a much better DVR on the Eachine EV300Ds. The next thing that all of these goggles do have is a power button. Skyzone 030s were one of the first pairs to incorporate a power button. Everybody wants that on-off button on there, and you have to press this to turn them on. So when you plug the battery on, they don't immediately come on. Also, the Eachine EV300Ds also have a power button, and that power button is right here, as well as Fatshark HDO2s now have a power button as well, and it's a combination button, fan and power. Now we're starting out this part of the comparison with the HDO2s. You're looking at the live screen view. You see the drone cam's flag there. You see that the colors look pretty bright. They do pop. It's actually a little more saturated than what it looks like in real life. It's not quite as bright as what you see there on the screen. But one thing that I want you to notice is the amount of noise that these goggles produce when looking at the blacks. The darks seems to have a live view with quite a bit of noise in there. Even though the colors are bright, the screen is bright, it does have a noticeable amount of noise on the darks. And you will be quite surprised that the EV300Ds seem even a little bit brighter. And when you're looking at a Caddx Ratel camera, generally that camera is pretty bright, pretty vivid. A lot of the guys in the Pacific Northwest like to use that camera because even on the darkest days, that camera still looks great. You can see the scraggle. But this is the first thing that I did notice with the HDO2s, was that even though they are brighter, and I think this screen is bigger in my view point, you can definitely see top to bottom with these. They're better adjusted than the regular HDOs, but still there was a bit of noise here, and that was one of the biggest things that I noticed right off. Now let's look at the EV300Ds in comparison, and I'll put both of these up on the screen at the same time so you can see both of them there in the live view. I'll put the HDO2s on the left, and we'll put the EV300Ds on the right. All right guys, now you can see both of these pair of goggles up on the screen at the same time. Now one thing that you have to know, that the way I recorded this was with my iPhone. This is the newest iPhone out with the 3 cameras on there. It was extremely difficult to be able to get the cameras to zoom in close enough on this lens on the EV300Ds because there is a slight bit of distortion around the edge of the flag there. It looks kind of washed out, like it's blurred out, but to the naked eye, this is all very crisp. And one of the other things that you have to notice about both of these, as far as less noise in the EV300Ds win right there. Also, the colors seem to pop a little bit harder on the EV300Ds, so you're getting a little bit brighter color. The Caddx Ratel, though, honestly is one of those kind of oversaturated cameras, if that's what you like. I tend to really like the Caddx Ratel because of that. It just makes the grass look greener, and the videos look a little bit nicer when I record them. But again, the EV300Ds clearly win in this case again as far as the amount of noise on the lens. And that's the first thing that I noticed about the HDO2s. They have it sort of softened a little more in the EV300Ds, if you will. It just looks a little bit better on the screen. The Fatshark HD2s look a little bit larger if you want kind of a larger look, but you can also change that as well on both of these pairs of goggles, 4.3 or 16:9, depending on whether you're racing or you're doing freestyle. I tend to like 16:9 for freestyle. Racing guys like 4.3 because they can see further ahead for the next gate vertically. But clearly the EV300Ds, in my opinion, and by my 2020 vision, seem to have actually a better looking lens inside the goggles. The view it's better color and less noise in the video. So let's go ahead now and take a look at the last pair of goggles in this equation, the Sky 03Os. And here again are the Sky 03Os, and I have to say that they look very good. So if you're looking for that mid-range pair of goggles, I think that the Sky 03Os with the included module base, with the exception of good antennas, I think that these are still a really strong deal in the first part of 2020. I would put my money down on a pair of Skyzone 03Os any day of the week. So now at this point in the review, you have to have a clear idea of what each of these goggles are all about. The specs, the screens on each one of them, the DVR, and the latency. The 3 most important things. Also ease of use. I find that, let's just go ahead and break it all down at the end of this video. The best screen award goes to the EV300Ds. The best latency award probably is going to go to the Skyzone 03Os, following the Fatshark HDO2s. The HDO2s had an average of around a 35 millisecond delay. These are around 25 to 30 millisecond delay, and these were up to 100 millisecond delay. These probably won the best ease of use, zero light leaks, and probably also the best DVR on board. But can you live with that 100 millisecond delay? If you're flying fast, if you are a multi-GP racer or somebody who goes 70 to 80 to 90 miles an hour through gates, you're gonna want the HDO2s. Those are your hands down best pair of goggles out there with rapid fire on them. Just go ahead and spend the money and buy the HDO2s. Now, if you're an everyday pilot that just wants to go out and fly, if you want to have some nice DVR on board, get the Skyzone 030s. Those are my just sort of best overall goggles for the price. Those are still around $400, but you don't have to buy the additional cost of having extra antennas and another module to buy. So these are built in, they're out the door price at $399, and that's still good in 2020. So if you're just getting into FPV, you don't have to go out and spend $300 on a pair of goggles, or even $400 or $500 or $600 or $700. You can get started in FPV for a more budget-friendly pair of goggles like the Fatshark Recon V3s right here. These are a really good set of goggles. They look nice on, and they have a DVR on board as well. So I think this should be something you should think about if you're just getting into FPV for the first, say, a couple months. Now, the little larger investment would be the Fatshark Attitude V5s. These are also a beginner-friendly pair of goggles at a pretty good price range. So, and these did pretty well in the latency testing as well as these did. So all the Fatshark goggles did great in the latency testing, and while these are not my favorite because they have 640 by 480 resolution, it does kind of look a little bit muddy on the screen in comparison to the higher end goggles down here on the bench. But most people just getting into it can live with these. These are hard to see those ghost branches when you're coming really fast through the trees. So if you are a beginner, keep that in mind. You might be crashing a little more than you normally would with a more expensive pair of goggles, but I'm gonna leave that up to you guys again because it's your budget, and these are the specs, and these are the results of our testing. One last thing I want to talk about as far as your battery setup goes. There are two types of battery setups that a lot of people use. These are the 18650 battery packs from Fatshark. You can put two 18650s in there, and this battery pack will actually fit in all three of these pair of goggles, as well as the Fatshark Attitude V5s. This barrel plug right here is compatible with all three of these right here, Eachine, Skyzone, and Fatshark, as well as the option to use one of these longer cables. This is what I prefer. I stick a battery in my pocket. A 3S2200 or a 3000 milliamp can pretty much get me flying all week long, and this is great because this takes the weight of the battery off your head. You put it in your pocket and you unplug down here. It's just much easier and much more convenient. So hopefully this video helped you out if you're a new guy getting into the hobby, and now you have an honest overview and a look at the best goggles for 2020. So my number one choice is going to be the HDO2s. Number two is going to be Skyzone 030s. And I'm not even sure I can rate these at number three, but we're going to go ahead and put that link down there below. You guys can check those out. If you don't fly fast, they should be fine. But 100 millisecond delay is pretty high, so you might want to consider these also. There's a lot of goggles out there and a lot of choices, so hopefully you have a better idea. Thanks for watching, guys. Please do click subscribe down below and hit that bell for the notification in your email so you can find out when the new videos are coming out. Take care, guys. I'm Justin Davis, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.